Hello viewers, this is a small supporting video for the video number 14 which has already been posted, which talks about Upapada lagna. Here it goes. There are three reference points in a horoscope, essentially the ARUDHA lagna, also called Pada lagna, Upapada lagna and Karakamsha lagna. We have already learned about ARUDHA lagna and thereof the ARUDHA labha and ARUDHA vyaya. We will now learn and get an insight about Upapada lagna. The difference between Upapada, which is Arudha of the 12th house, is different from that of Arudha Vyaya. We will come across these principles of Arudha Labha and Arudha Vyaya, Dhana Yogas, etc. in the discussion of profession and Dhana Yogas as such. Let us now study what is Upapada lagna, which is nothing but the Arudha of the 12th house. We have to understand here that Arudha of the 12th house is not Arudha Vyaya. Arudha of the 12th house is called Upapada, also known as Upapada lagna, abbreviated as UL. On the other hand, Arudha Vyaya is the 12th house from Arudha lagna. We use this Upapada as a starting point for study of marriage, spouse, and brothers and sisters, family life, and children as such. We can also study the 7th house, A7, and Dharakaraka DK to understand about spouse and marriage of a native. Now we can ask a question as to why we must study Arudha of the 12th house when the 7th house of the Arudha of the 7th house, that is Dharapada, is already there available to us to study the marriage and spouse. The answer to this is if we take any chart and mark Upapada and the second from Upapada in the D1 chart, and also mark A7 and the 7th from A7 chart, A7, and then draw a D9 chart, that is Navamsha chart, do the same marking of the UL, second from the UL, A7 and 7th from A7, etc. in the D9 chart, we will notice something very unique. Also, mark that UL and A7 as obtained in the Rasi chart have to be replicated wherever they are in all the Varga charts, and in this particular case, the D9 chart. Now, what is that unique observation? The UL or the second from UL generally will be same as A7 or the 7th from A7, either directly or their lords will be connected to each other. Also understand that this should be true for any chart or all the charts. As such, the study of spouse and marriage must be taken up only in the D9 chart. So we will study the effects of Upapada lagna and Upapada as such in D9 chart only. In Bruhat Parashara Hora Shastra, the Shodasa Varga Adhyaya tells us to study D3 for brothers, D7 for children, D9 for spouse, D12 for parents, etc. All this have to be studied along with D1 chart. Now let us study how to use Upapada. We've already seen that study of spouse and marriage is taken up in the D9 chart. So we will prepare D9 chart, Navamsha chart, that is, mark the UL, second from UL, A7, and seventh from A7 in the D9 chart. Then mark the Upapada Lagna UL and A7 in the same signs in the D9 chart as they were marked in D1 chart. Identify the lords of the above padas in the D9 chart. We can observe in general that the UL from or the second from UL is the same as A7 or seventh from A7 directly, or sometimes their lords will be connected to each other. Further guidelines would be draw the D1 and D9 charts and study them according to the following guidelines. If the UL and the second from UL are in the benefic signs, or they are occupied or aspected by benefic planets, the spouse of the native will be good looking and virtuous. Benefic signs are the signs owned by benefic planets such as Jupiter, Venus, unafflicted Mercury, and the waxing moon. Accordingly, Rasi-wise, we can understand here that Sagittarius, Pisces, Taurus, Libra, Gemini, Virgo, and Cancer. Cancer only if the moon is waxing. These will be the benefic signs. Similarly, malefic signs are falling in the UL or second from UL, and if they are occupied or aspected by malefics or debilitated planets, the native remains either unmarried or may lose the spouse. In this context, we have to understand that Mars, Saturn, waxing moon, Rahu, and GK, along with the debilitated planets, are malefics. Accordingly, the signs owned by all the above grahas, Aries, Scorpio, Capricorn, and Aquarius, will be malefic. Next, if the lords of UL or second from UL are exalted, the native gets spouse from a high caste or from a family of high social status or financial status. Likewise, if they are debilitated, the spouse comes from family of a lower status, either social or financial. Please be advised that when high caste word is used, it is essentially to demarcate between family status, financial or social. If the UL or the second from UL are occupied or aspected by exalted planet, the native may have multiple marriages. If the lord of the second from the UL is in his own house, the native loses the spouse in his old age. So in general, these are the guidelines as to why and how we study Upapada in terms of understanding marriage and various aspects connected with marriage. Thank you so much.